Good morning. Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome back. Before we go into the action meeting this morning, I just wanted to clear up kind of a few things from yesterday, make sure we have the workshop agenda completed. The first thing I'm going to do is ask Director Mitchell to give you a quick update on the Pulse in Richmond.
Yeah, I had one announcement that I forgot to make yesterday, which is that the Pulse, which is the BRT project in Richmond, this is being funded through a Tiger grant from USDOT, along with funding from VDOT and DRPT. GRTC, the transit system, is the grantee, but VDOT's leading the design build project. Construction is substantially complete, and we expect to begin operations on June 24th. We're going to have a ribbon cutting event on June 25th in Richmond in the morning, so we're very excited about that. So
that was a great partnership, I will say. So Jennifer, thank you very much on your leadership for that, and it's on time and on budget. So just happy to announce that, Commissioner. I would say it's a week ahead of schedule. Thank you.
And we're going to all look forward to riding it to some restaurant when we're down there.
I cannot wait, to be honest. So, yes, I couldn't agree with you more. The second thing, and I'm going to ask Mr. Lawson just to come up to the podium in case anyone has any questions, but there's a resolution that is expiring at the end of June that I believe everyone on this board is familiar with, and it has to do with revenue refunding bonds and the ability of John Lawson to go to the markets to sell and refund bonds so we could take advantage of opportunities that could save us money because of the discrepancy between when the CTB approves this and when the Treasury Board has their, I guess, approval or board meeting. And so you will be bringing that to the next meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chair, yes. We have historically had what we called a shelf refunding resolution from the board with a 2-year life. And as Madam Secretary explained, what that allows us to do is to react quickly. If market conditions change and options come available to us, we have to take, under traditional debt issuance, you know, the CTB would act 1 month, Treasury Board would act the following month before we could actually go to market. What this allows us to do is to skip the step of coming to you because you have effectively approved refundings in advance, and that allows us to quickly move to Treasury Board and to market. The shelf refunding is truly just for refundings. It does not allow for any new money, any additional debt to be issued, nor does it allow for the debt to the maturity to be extended. It has to be kept within the same tenor in which it was originally sold. So it's truly just allow us to execute a refunding more quickly.
I just wanted to make you aware we don't have anything to do today about that, but if you all have any questions or concerns about that, you can bring those to me or to John. So thank you. Just wanted to let you know that was going to be on the agenda. I'm very happy to report that Mr. John Maubin has agreed to serve on our rail committee. You've been coming to the meetings, and yeah. So anyway, we would like to welcome you to the table.
Kind of wind his way onto there, didn't he?
We're thrilled, and so just wanted to make that official. And I just wanted to mention to the board that there is much really interesting, great work being done on subcommittees. We have the Technology Committee, we have the Rail Committee, and Marty Williams has agreed to chair our Underground Utilities Committee, investigating how we could move forward with that. And I have mentioned to a few of you and just wanted to let everyone know that if you have an idea for a subcommittee on the board that you think there is an issue that would require a more in-depth review, or perhaps you'd like to take leadership on, I would welcome those ideas. So. No, it was something that you had mentioned you had been a part of for a long time, but we had received there was a presentation from Kim Pryor about a locality locating utilities underground. You were the one who had just mentioned this has been an issue for a really long time, and there's a task force the commissioners put together. And so you had graciously agreed to lead that task force. And so it's just kind of coming back to the board to find out what parameters we have. Are there opportunities for us, you know, some years later, do we know something more now that we could do? Because I know a lot of communities would like to bury the power lines, and particularly for new construction. So
and that work's underway. And Rob, Deputy Commissioner Carey's carrying that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've gotten together a list of utility companies, local government, representatives and so forth, and co-ops and a full spectrum of utility companies to get them involved. So we've got a group already set to go. So
we have a group ready to start working with you, which is great. So anyway, if you all have more ideas, please bring those to me. And finally, this morning, I am announcing the new Director of Innovation. Her name is Lynn McDaniel. I'm not sure if you all know her, but she was most formally Vice President of Business Development for Advantage Strategies. Prior to that, she was in leadership positions with Worldview Solutions and with Virginia Interactive. Her whole career has been has focused on technology management and business development, which was exactly what we were looking for. I do believe we have chosen a great leader to take the helm of this very interesting and important initiative. She will join us on May 29th. We are beginning to organize that office, bringing people together, resources together, and that is why the timing of Mr. Connor's presentation yesterday was kind of set the platform upon which she's going to be beginning. So anyway, we are very, very excited about her arrival, and so I know she's going to have a great team behind her, and I know she's going to really look forward to working with the Innovation Committee and with this board. And so with that, we will go into the action meeting of the CTB, and I will ask if is there anyone here who would like to speak to the board? Any comments, suggestions? We welcome compliments. Seeing that no one, I don't believe any. Oh,
you can
yes.
make your compliments anonymously too, if you. So.
What I often want to say at a public hearing, because people have 3 minutes, the time that you spend thanking anyone, it doesn't count. So feel free. But anyway, so I don't see any comments, seeing anyone wishing to speak, and I didn't receive a notice of anyone. And so with that, we will go into our action meeting. Okay, Mr. Lawson. Oh, I always forget. Do I have a motion on the minutes? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Lawson. And you dutifully did not stand up when I called your name, so you knew.
I knew.
You knew.
Good morning, Madam Chair. This morning before you, I have the normal monthly transfer. Items. There are only 4 items on the transfer list, and the first item is actually the project that you added into the program last year.
Chairman, I'd move approval.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Mr. Walton, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I have the next 2 items, both of which were the topic of workshop presentations in April by Ms. Brown. The first one is approval of the high-volume unpaved road program allocations. There were 7 counties that had high-volume qualifying routes. We were able to use some rollover funds from previous years so that we'd be able to fund all 7 projects. So we would ask for your approval.
Move. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. I would just add to that, you know, this program, Mr. Connors, could be really important for the fiber optic study. So anyway, as we were discussing yesterday, Ms. Hines' idea about overlaying some maps, and anyway. Mr. Walton.
Next item, Madam Secretary, again, an item from the April workshop dealing with primary extension improvement program in urban areas. There were 162 applications seeking close to $42 million. There's approximately $21 million available. The projects were scored, and all projects that had a score above 50.7 were funded. There are two attachments to the resolution. The first lists the projects by their numerical scoring. The second shows all the projects in the various districts. Once again, we would seek your approval.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Mr. Walton.
I wouldn't, just one other thing, Madam Secretary, you'll note both resolutions are contingent upon the budget passing and becoming law as of July 1st. So we had that little scenario in there. So, and so that's in both those resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Moore, I think you're going to be very popular this morning.
Morning, Madam Chairman and members of the board. I think I have the next four or so. The first one up is you were briefed last month on both the prioritization process and the funding distribution for State of Good Repair. There was a request from Mr. Whitworth that we, as part of the 6-year plan public hearings, make that public, and we did have handouts at those remaining meetings, so that was done. So we have no alternative recommendations been made, and it's our recommendation that that be approved as briefed last month.
Have a motion? Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Next item is location and design, and it's in Spotsylvania County. It is actually a location approval for access roadway north of Mud Tavern, Route 606, Spotsylvania County, located in the Fredericksburg District. It is actually a parallel road to 606 near 95 where some of that work is going on. It will give better access. It is being done with local and state funds, not federal funds, so it does not have a NEPA or anything like that. But since we've done the location, we've done the hearing, it's our recommendation that the location be approved by the board.
Move to approve. And I just want to thank local district staff and state officials, Garrett and Marcy and others, for working very closely with, and I have to be careful, elected officials and some business leaders down there to make this happen. Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Next issue under this is a limited access control change. This is at Route 744 at the Industrial Development Authority and Route 121 Hawks Next interchange in the county of Buchanan, located in the Bristol District. Again, there was public comment on this, and it's a routine for this local project so that that access can happen. It's a pretty, and we need, since it is a limited access change, it requires board approval, and I recommend the approval of the board.
I move to approve, ma'am.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Last issue is a contract award that we're bringing forward. It's a design build. It'll take a little longer here. The contract number, it's C009307 4DB96. It's at 81 at mile marker 114. It replaces 2 structurally deficient bridges in Montgomery County within the Salem District. Currently, these are the last 2 structurally deficient bridges within that district, so that would help bring them up. Now, we do have bridges coming on all the time, but at this time, if there are no more come on, Salem District would have their last interstate ones done. There was good competition. It's Hames Brothers, the low bid. and it was $21.3 million, good value with 3 bidders. We had a good bids, and we would recommend that, I would recommend that we award this project.
Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. Does anyone have any new business or anything they'd like to bring before the board this morning? I would just like to thank Mr. Stinson again for the hospitality we've had here in Bristol. We've had, you know, since Monday morning, just a wonderful time here. We've learned a lot. We've met some great people. So anyway, thank you very much. And to District Engineer Randy Hamilton, you are back there. I thought I might see you, and your entire team. Thank you, Mr. Hamilton, again for all that you did to make this such a, you know, just an interesting and productive meeting. And I'm coming back in blue jeans. I'm coming back in blue jeans. Okay.
Madam Chairman, I have one question, just a point of clarification about Mr. Williams' new subcommittee. We talked yesterday about basically a one dig policy for broadband and utilities. Is this the same thing, or is this coordinating all the utility providers so that we don't have delays in projects?
Part of what I think well, you may want to describe what the, you know, the task force is actually doing. I think there is some coordination, but there's work to be done first.
Okay.
The task force is really focused on identifying when is it appropriate to underground utilities and not, and what the ramifications are if we decide to keep them aerial or undergrounding them. And I think the genesis really came out of when we rescored the Smart Scale project and identified that just by not undergrounding, we were able to do another three-quarters of a mile of roadway that had a significant impact, positive impact back on the community. So that by not undergrounding, we were able to get more road improvements done than not. So that's the focus of the undergrounding task force, is to better understand when is it appropriate, when is it not, and what are the pros and cons associated with undergrounding.
The commission will learn why it's a pain to ask me to help sometimes, because part of my goal with it will be there's a tremendous disconnect, and it disserves VDOT, the contractors, the communities, because the coordination of those underground utilities when you have to move them is just, it is, I can't imagine how much it impacts all 3 of those entities, all in a negative way. We've got to figure out a better way to do that. So I'm hoping, given some of the names I saw, or the titles I saw that are going to be on the task force, that we could have a lot of vested interest in the room and help solve some of that stuff. I don't know what the answer is, but
it's been around for a long time.
That's going to be a good place to try to do it right there. With
I recall, I think on 17 expansion, I think utility uncoordination cost about 6 months, and God knows how much money.
Disaster.
So yeah, okay.
Utilities need to come to
Thank you.
their support to work something out.
Mr. Connor, just briefly, do you just want to mention what the fiber optic and why in the future that I think there will be coordination if it works?
We talked a lot. What we're trying to do right now is just basically assess, inventory the current fiber optic assets within our portfolio and how we can use that to expand broadband throughout the Commonwealth and underserved in rural areas. And then it became, a question came up about whether or not we're doing this as a matter of business, just going ahead and while we're building new roads, laying the pipes for the future connected highways. And I'm not so sure what the answer is. It is sometimes and it is not sometimes. And we can bake that into the program, the policies, if the board chooses to do so. But I'm not sure. I think this task force will help us identify what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we can do it better. And it all can be aligned at some point. But that was...
As we give updates, I do think it's important that we coordinate and share that information, and so we'll try at board meetings to do that. Mr. Carey, just to make sure we're all on the same page. But I do think some work needs to be done here.
It's
Yeah.
another, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So, anything else? Okay, well, thank you all very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. Bristol's been great.
Madam Chair, just thank everybody again for coming. I know it's quite the effort to come. It's a long trip for you. I certainly appreciate it. And we hope everyone on the board and everybody that came down from Richmond, we hope that you'll come back to Southwest Virginia and join us both in your private and professional lives sometime and enjoy our part of the state.
And we certainly did. And Carol and Brenda, what a terrific job you did on the road getting us here. And the team and to our team yesterday, who may deserve hazardous duty pay for making sure this is all streamed live. So, no, it's been a great adventure here, Mr. Stinson. So, well, thank you. And be safe going back. Thanks. Adjourned.